I'm Dan Collins with Mercy Medical Center in Baltimore, Maryland, and you're watching Medoscopy. Thanks for joining us for today's procedure. Our guests are Dr. Tangela Anderson-Tull and Dr. Jana, both OBGYNs with Hoffman & Associates, an all-female practice affiliated with the Family, Childbirth, and Children's Center at Mercy. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
I always like to start off the same question, sort of find out where folks are from. Where are you all from originally?
I'm from Pocomoke, Maryland, so down on the eastern shore of Maryland, small town.
Yeah, I understand Pocomoke is called, quote, the friendliest town on the eastern shore.
Yes.
Has that been your experience?
I feel like it. I didn't realize until I came up here. I feel like when I came up here for college, I was very offended if I got in the elevator and you say good morning and no one speaks. It's just because where I'm from, people hold the door, you say good morning. I mean, it's small enough that everybody knows everybody, so I guess that's different. And so when I came here, I just remembered being taken aback by how quiet, I should say, people were when I first moved to the city.
I did a little research on Pocomoke City. I understand it's a center of commerce on the lower shore. It's home to an industrial park, a place host to defense contractors, aerospace engineering, plastics fabrication. What else is it famous for? What do you like about Pocomoke?
Chicken.
Chicken, okay.
Purdue. Purdue and Tyson's Farm. That's like the big thing down there. And in addition to like the industrial industry and NASA being down that way, I feel like everybody either worked in the education system, in the hospitals at Salisbury, or everybody was at Purdue, Tyson's, or NASA. Those are your options.
Dr. Mudd, how about you?
I'm a transplant too. I'm from Pennsylvania, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Ah, and that's where you grew up?
Yes, yep. I was actually born in the Netherlands, but we came to the U.S. when I was 1, and I grew up in Bethlehem.
Oh, okay. Are your parents in Hellertown, Pennsylvania, I understand?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's a borough of Northampton County. Is that near Bethlehem? I'm not...
Yeah, very close, yep.
Okay, so you get up and visit a lot, I suppose?
I was actually there just this past weekend. Yep.
Oh, great. Yeah, my family used to live up in Stewartstown, Pennsylvania. So.
Ooh, I don't think I know Stewartstown.
Oh, it's right on the border as you're leaving 83. You're going up 83 and you're leaving Maryland. You go right into Pennsylvania,
okay.
And it's like the first town you hit.
Okay.
So a lot of the people who live up there are Baltimoreans who make the commute.
Okay.
Taxes a little better up there.
Okay.
That's for another story.
Yeah.
So both of these towns. They're relatively small towns. They're like 4,000 to 6,000 people in population. Mm-hmm. So you grew up in a small town, but now you're in the big city. You know, what's the difference? What do you like about Baltimore? How does that, fit for both of you?
Yeah, so my husband and I, we ended up staying up here. We're both from Pocomoke, and so we found our small area in the big city. So we live out in the suburbs in like the Owings Mills, Reisterstown area. But we love that there's so much to do and we have more options because we entertained going back home. But there were more activities, options, entertainment. So we love that we can get into the city and do things, but we do like our quiet and waking up with deer in the yard and feels like home.
How about you?
So Bethlehem is a city. It's a small city. But I did medical school in Philadelphia, and I found moving from Philadelphia to Baltimore a pretty easy transition. Really like Baltimore for all the opportunities for education for our kids, lots of green space, open space, and lots of things to do as well.
So you both became doctors. Why the interest in medicine? Was this something like, I knew I was always going to be a doctor since I was a kid, or it's like, no, I thought I was going to write the great American novel or become a ski instructor or something like that, and now I wound up becoming a doctor. How did the whole process work for both of you?
Oh, it was a very distinct moment for me. So I was 10, and my grandmother was in the hospital for breast cancer, palliative care at this time. And so every day after school, we'd go to the hospital and spend the evenings at the hospital. I'm 10. I'm, getting restless, we're going to the hospital. And so my grandmother's doctor was like, hey, you want to come with me? Like I'm practicing, like I was doing ballet at the time, practicing my recital dance in my grandmother's room. And he's like, come with me. And so he takes me into like the room next door. We would maybe see like 2 patients with this doctor. And I don't remember his name. I feel horrible. and I did my little recital dance, and they're all oncology patients, and so their faces just lit up as I'm dancing. I'm like, oh, I like this, going from room to room and bringing joy to people. And so that's what I thought being a doctor was, because I didn't realize that I was the one that was probably giving them joy, because here's this kid dancing for them. I'm thinking, oh, I'm with this doctor, and he walks in and they just light up, not the little kid who's coming with him. And so I was like, oh, I want to do that and give joy. And then when my grandmother passed away, I wanted to cure the world of cancer. You're young and you're like, I want to be a doctor and find a cure for cancer.
I've talked to a lot of doctors, and many of them have had similar experiences. Not the dancing for patients, but the idea that there was someone in their family that had an illness and they made a connection to it that way. What about you, Dr. Mott?
That's interesting. Both of our grandmothers actually had breast cancer. I don't think I knew that.
No.
Yeah. Mine was much later. I was older when she had it. But my dad was an OBGYN too, so I think I wanted to be an OBGYN since I was really little. Hearing his stories and hearing about the babies he delivered was always really exciting to me. And when I went to medical school, I tried out other things and wanted to be open and to see what else I might want to do, but I always kept coming back to OBGYN. We do have other doctors in my family too. My mom's brother is a doctor, or was a doctor, he's deceased, and I have two cousins who are physicians too. So I was sort of drawn to medicine too, because it's kind of in the family as well.
Now, Dr. Mudd, I understand you're fluent in Spanish, but you also speak conversational Greek and Dutch. How did this interest in multiple languages come about?
So I mentioned I was born in the Netherlands, but we came here when I was a baby, so I didn't really grow up, speaking Dutch in the house. My dad's from Holland, my mom's from Greece, so kind of had an international flair growing up in my house, going to the Greek Orthodox Church in Bethlehem, so, learning Greek along the way there. And then just always had an affinity for languages. I was a double major in biology and Spanish at Bucknell. So I studied it in college. And then also in summers, while I was in college, I worked in an OBGYN's office who was from Puerto Rico. I spent 2 summers with him. So learned a lot of OBGYN Spanish along the way too. So just always loved languages.
My wife's Greek, and so and her father was a physician in public health and pediatrics here in Baltimore way back in the day. But we know a little something about she always tells me the stories about the Greek Orthodox Church. It's like, well, you better be willing to spend a long time there because it's a long service.
Yes,
very
much so.
Sounds like a Pentecostal service.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, you were married in the St. Nicholas Greek Orthodox Church, were you not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, it's keeping that. Do you have a preference? Let's say that we're looking at Dutch, we're looking at Spanish, we're looking at Greek. Is there a one affiliation that's stronger for you than another?
Well, if my mom's watching, definitely Greek. Yeah, I mean, you don't really hear much Dutch around, especially in the U.S. Greek, I might hear a little bit more. They're all great, and I'm definitely better on some topics of conversation than others. But they're all wonderful, and I love being able to pick out words in the English language that I might hear in the other languages.
Dr. Anderson-Tull, I noticed that you had noted that Black women are dying in childbirth at a rate 4 times greater than other women, and something known as the team approach could better address that issue: timeliness, education, advocacy, mentorship. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So unfortunately, as with so many other conditions, we're disproportionately at a higher rate of death than our counterparts. And so with the teams approach, I thought I remember it being teamwork, but taking a team's approach with a timeliness is initiating care in a timely fashion, having collaborative care. So having midwifery involved, at least for obstetrics. I can't speak for other specialties, but for obstetrics, having midwifery involved with the care of the patients, educating them, that part about including midwifery. A lot of times midwives have more time to spend with patients, and taking the time to educate them. If you talk to a lot of Black women that have had adverse outcomes with healthcare, usually they felt like no one listened to them, or they weren't heard, or no one explained things to them. So I really try and take the time to explain the importance of why we're doing it, what's the reason behind it. I feel like it comes across a lot with hypertension. People don't understand why they're hypertensive now when they weren't before. and explaining the placental physiology behind that, then they're more likely to be compliant with the care. And then advocating, just teaching them how to advocate for themselves, having the right questions. Sometimes if you don't know the questions to ask, then you don't know how to advocate.
We'll take a break and return after these messages.
Tonight's Woman's Doctor. Before women go into menopause in their early 50s, they may go through what's called perimenopause. 11 News anchor Lacey Griffith talked to a doctor at Mercy Medical Center about the changes that come with it.
Well, this time period usually lasts on average for about 4 years, according to doctors, and with it comes changes to your period. Well, Mercy Medical Center OBGYN Dr. Tangela Anderson-Tull says menopause is considered to start when you haven't had a period in a year. But during perimenopause, your body is changing and your hormones are fluctuating. She says that you may have irregular or missed periods or different bleeding patterns.
I feel like once it becomes disruptive to your life, you should seek medical attention. Also, if the bleeding becomes closer together, again, usually it's getting further apart. If you're starting to have more bleeding, heavier bleeding, would also be a very key factor to come in to be seen.
Well, if bleeding is your biggest complaint, Dr. Anderson-Tull says there are hormones to treat that. You may also notice during this time spotting between periods and brown or dark blood as well. But remember, if you've missed a few cycles, you may want to take a pregnancy test just in case. In the newsroom, I'm Lacey Griffith.
As frequent viewers know, one regular feature of our program is a sort of show and tell, where guests bring in something, some item, could be a book, a photograph, who knows what. But it's important to them in some way, reflective of who they are and what they're about. All right, let's take a look at these items. Dr. Mudd, we'll start with you.
Okay, this is a fetoscope. So this is a tool that my dad gave me that you can actually hear a fetal heart rate with. So you put this part on the mom's belly, and you put your ear into it, and you can actually hear the baby. And this is something that he used in medical school and when he was a young doctor in the Netherlands. So I think this is pretty cool. I actually used it the other day on a patient, on a couple patients, and it actually worked. It's pretty neat to listen to.
Oh, I mean, is there some modern high-tech equivalent of that you all use now? Or?
Yeah, I mean, we have a fetal heart rate Doppler. It's just this little handheld device that we put a little gel in the mom's belly and hear the fetal heart rate, and the whole room can hear it. So that's what we use in modern times, but they didn't have this back then. So this is what they used in the olden days.
But as you said, it still works.
Yeah, I really like it. I like the design of it, and it's very sleek looking, and I like how sustainable it is. There's no batteries, there's no gel, there's nothing. You just wooden.
Yeah,
I have
only
this
seen
conversation quite
textbooks.
often. Is like there's a lot of things that are in our digital world now, but sometimes analog is better. As you said, that's not going to break down. If the power goes out, you can still use it. But I'm an old man, so what do I know?
Yeah.
I've only seen it in a textbook, so it's
Yeah.
like nice to
Yeah,
see.
I just let you try it out. I actually listen to my kids' hearts with it, so you can actually hear some of these
Okay,
tests.
we need to do that.
Yeah. But I do like the Dopplers that we use are nice because then the whole room can hear the baby's heart rate, which is really exciting, especially for the first time. And I don't know if you've ever done this. If we have deaf patients, sometimes you can have them hold the
They
little
feel it. They
the
touch
Doppler,
it.
and they can actually feel it, which is really cool.
It's cool.
I have a lot of kids also, like people that have younger children.
Yeah.
Their kids will hold the Doppler for me in the office. So maybe that's their moment to then want to be a doctor,
Yeah.
You never can tell. So, Dr. Anderson-Tull, what do you have for us?
Yeah, so I have a patient who gifted me earrings. And the first time, several years ago now, but when she came back to see me the following year, she was like, I don't ever see you in my earrings. And so I thought, what a perfect opportunity to make sure she gets to see me in her earrings, especially because right now she's battling with breast cancer. So she's getting chemotherapy for breast cancer. So I thought it would be a perfect time. I have lots of gifts that I love, but this is probably one of my favorite gifts from a patient.
We should do a segment sometime just about the gifts that doctors have received. So you've got the earrings, and when you mentioned that the patient gave that to you, I immediately thought of Dr. Rosenshine and Dr. M, who have 10,000 paperweights that
Oh
have
my
been given to
goodness.
them by patients over the years because they
Yes.
just saw like they had a paperweight on their desk. He must like paperweights. So they went.
Correct.
And so then it just
And then
built
you
him
keep
out.
getting
Now he's
more
got
and
this
more.
huge collection of
Wow.
them. And some of them are really, they're quite something to see. But it's all about that connection to the patient. And having spoken with Dr. Im about it, it's like, there's a patient story with every one of these.
Yes.
And it's like a little reminder of why you're in the business that you're in, why you're
Exactly.
doing what you do.
Yes.
We'll take another really brief break and come back for the last segment of Medoscopy.
In tonight's Woman's Doctor, you're pregnant, but you find out your baby is breech, and that means the baby's head is facing up rather than down. But could the baby correct its position on its own before delivery? 11 News' Lacey Griffiths gets the facts.
So you've learned your baby is breech. That could mean you'll need to deliver by C-section, but not always. I spoke with Mercy Medical Center Dr. Jana.
Do you usually see breech babies come at a certain point in pregnancy?
They can be breached any point during the pregnancy, and the earlier in the pregnancy the baby is, the more likely they are to be breached. When we start worrying about it or thinking about it a little bit more is towards the end of the pregnancy.
Dr. Mudd says there are different types of breech positions. Frank breech is when baby's feet are straight up by their head. There's also complete breech, when baby's head is up with both knees bent. And there's incomplete breech, which is head up with one leg bent. Moms sometimes try little things to see if baby will move.
Things that moms tend to do can be like position changes. Sometimes moms will try to go on their hands and knees, or try to lay on the floor with their back and then put their buttocks up on a couch or something to see if they can get the baby to flip. Sometimes moms will put something cold on the top of their belly and something warm down below, but really nothing's been proven to really help that much, or we need more data to support that.
In Dr. Mudd's practice, they might do an ultrasound at 35 or 36 weeks to see if baby is breech. If so, they can perform a procedure to manually flip the baby.
It sounds very painful.
Most patients tolerate it pretty well. The success rate's on average, about 60%.
If it doesn't work, a C-section will likely be ordered, but Dr. Mudd says babies can flip on their own all the way up to the last seconds. Lacey Griffith, WBAL, TV 11 News.
Lacey, thank you. Breech babies are usually monitored for things like hip dysplasia or a twisting of the neck after birth.